When I reflect back on my life, the good and the bad that's happened, there is nothing worth worrying about. It's a waste of energy, a waste of time.
We were taught that all people were equal. And now, this is blacks and whites, males and females. We're not adding any other, what would have been considered an aberration. So I grew up accepting people as they were.
I would describe the environment in which I grew up in respect to homosexuality was very restrictive. Nobody talked about it. The only time I ever really heard about it was when some of the kids in school would talk about if you were gay, you would wear green on Thursday. I always remembered that because I thought, what?
Well, when I was growing up, the environment, I had really no idea about anything relating to a gay lifestyle. That was never mentioned, so it was pretty repressed. But somehow I had the sense of awareness that it was not acceptable, probably because it was never talked about.
You know, I've known Molly and her family ever since she first came to school. And I think you might like to know her too.
I always was attracted to a female teacher. And I didn't understand it. I just thought, oh, that's a good teacher. I really, really like her. And I had boyfriends my whole high school. Then I began to realize that I was gay. And I didn't quite know where to put that because you didn't tell people that you were gay. And you did your best to look, let me say, as feminine as you could. We were not out to prove anything.
Well, when I was in fourth grade, I realized that I had crushes on some of the little girls in my class and on my fourth grade teacher. By then, I had seen and heard and read about heterosexual, boy and girl, and you're supposed to have a boyfriend or girlfriend, not a girlfriend if you're a girl. So I knew that wasn't quite right.
I began to recognize my identity when I was quite young, and I've thought about that. I was about 6, and I realized my comfort level emotionally was to men. I had no idea what it meant or where it was going, but I just remembered, I loved my mother and my aunts and women, but I had this real draw emotionally to men.
About this time, Mary developed a sudden, strong friendship with Lucille Williams. It seemed that Mary could talk better with Lucille than with anybody. They had absolutely no secrets from each other. They were inseparable. To Mary's mother, it seemed unnatural, this continual intimacy, this concentration of affection on one not very unusual girl.
And I thought, I just can't let my brother not know this because we were best friends growing up. So we went for a ride. He was driving.
I could tell something was up. And she said, there's something I have to tell you.
I was so terrified to get the words out.
And she said, I'm gay.
And he looked at me and he said, I know, and so am I. That's how we found out.
Barbara and I, that was a bonding that we did, and it was a very comfortable thing.
And we helped each other a lot, but I had no idea that he was gay.
I told my aunt because we were sitting in my mother's living room and she was talking about a woman who had died, and when the woman died, there were things about her life that came to light. And she said, I don't think people should keep secrets. I think people should be honest about what's going on in their lives. So that's when I said to her, well, I have a secret. And I don't recall her asking me to tell her, but I said to her, you know, I'm gay. And then she went through, well, is so-and-so gay and so-and-so gay? And we went through all of that, and I said, yes. And then she said to me, you know, some secrets are better left secret, and don't tell anyone else in the family because they won't like you. So I know she said that out of love. She wanted to protect me. She felt very protective. But in being protective, she was saying to me, this is something that's not good, you know, that you need to hide.
I had to work up the courage, and it took quite a bit of time, a long period of time before I could. I lived in West Palm Beach, and my parents lived in Tampa. So when I'd go visit them in Tampa, I would tell myself, this is the weekend that I will tell them. And I never could. And one time they came to visit me, so that Friday night, and I spent the whole evening trying to get the courage to say something to them. And finally I sat them down in the living room, and it was 10:30 at night. I told them that I was a lesbian. I was really anxious about it and nervous because my mom had a fundamentalist Christian background, and my dad was very religious as well. And I truly believed that they were going to disown me because of their religion. So I told them that I was a lesbian. And my dad said, well, that's not something we wanted to hear, that we ever wanted to hear. But we're not surprised. And then he paused. He said, but you're our daughter, and we love you anyway.
It probably was like 2 or 3 years after I got out of college. And I thought, why are you not telling your mother who you are? So she and I sat on the bed. It just happened. We were sitting on the bed one day, and I said, Mom, I've got something to tell you. She said, well, what is it, honey? And I said, I'm gay. And she stopped, and I stopped. And she said, well, I think you need to go to the doctor and get help. I had spoken it, so it was out of me.
And with my mother and with my aunt, I still felt like I wasn't really honest because we never talked about it. So it was almost like, yes, you told me, let's put that over here. I love you, you're my daughter. I love you, you're my niece, and we will never speak of it again.
Growing up is fun, but some of the things Molly used to do seem a little silly now. Sometimes she gets all mixed up just thinking about it. She's changing from a child into an adult, and it's a little confusing at times.
As a gay educator, in the early days when I was teaching, it could be dangerous. You could lose your certificate if they found out you were gay. And so there was the necessity to protect yourself if that's the path you were taking. I liked education. I wanted to stay in it. I had friends that left it, that it was too restrictive for them. It cramped their style.
I did know that I was gay, and I was terrified, literally terrified that somebody would find out. I took every opportunity I could to appear as normal as possible. Now, you hear me use the word normal, because in those days when you were gay, you were not normal. So it started there, and I just had to be very cautious.
Most people met at the bars, you know, that was where you were going to find gay people. And so we couldn't really go there because what if a student was there? You know, we were always, or what if you know, another teacher was there who didn't worry about it? So that was scary. And yet you still wanted to meet people in your circle. The best thing that ever happened was finding another teacher who was gay, who, it's almost like you're inducted into a whole circle of people who were in your same situation.
I remember a warning that I got from the head of the English department. We were in a conversation in the teacher's lounge. We were talking about something, several of us sitting around, and she was a friend of mine. And I said, well, that's illegal. And she turned to me and she said, so is homosexuality. And boom, I knew. Shields, boom, 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 shields went up because I knew this was an opportunity for me to realize I needed to protect myself, or I might need to protect myself.
I wore jeans and t-shirts and sneakers to work back in the day when women hardly even wore pants to work, you know. When it came out that a short outfit, that I don't know what they called them, skirts, I guess, that was questionable. Well, I wasn't wearing skirts, I was wearing jeans. But no one ever said anything to me, and because I taught special ed, honestly, I was very good at it. So I think that they gave me a lot of leeway.
Here she is. She is single and fun-loving.
When Linda and I began our relationship, it was based on the fact that we were attracted to each other physically, but far more than that, we were intellectual equals. We taught English, so we had a common bond that way. And as we got to be closer and closer, I was able to talk more about how I felt about things. And Linda was a great listener, and she also was a great reflector back of what you said.
I met Linda when I started substituting. And my first substituting job when I moved to Jupiter was at her school for her. Half day for her and half day for another English teacher. And I got to know her through that, and we just developed a really close friendship. And she's such a positive, intelligent, dominant personality type that she really helped me a lot. I mean, we had a lot of talks, and she really was almost like having my own personal therapist in a way. She's so good and has such good perceptions and perspectives on life. So that really helped me a lot. You know, as far as being a person, it brought me out, gave me strength of character and a better personality.
They were walking on air even before they got on board. For Sally, this was the time of her young life. And for Frances, it was a treat to have Sally along.
It must have been in Provincetown. Provincetown was a place for gay people. So it must have been on an early vacation because I didn't have any money to go abroad. But I knew that the lambda was the sign for lesbian. So I went to a store that carried gay things, and I bought that little gold lambda and I put it on a chain, and I wore it, but I didn't wear it where it could be seen. I haven't worn it for years. I haven't needed to. So the lambda actually for me was like a tattoo. It was a tattoo but I could touch it, and nobody, you know, and I could say, it's okay, it's okay. That was a hard thing.
In my entire life as a gay woman, I never held hands in public. I never showed, none of us did, show any signs of affection, except when we went to Provincetown. Provincetown was fun. First time I went, it was with Barbara and my Aunt Flo. And so I saw all of these bookstores that had, you know, gay titles. And I thought, oh, I would so like to go in there. And then I'm seeing women walking hand in hand, you know, and they have these Sunday tea dances. And I'm like, I'm here with my Aunt Flo. Like, how is my life so miserable? And the second time that I went with a person that I was involved with. And it was a good experience because we were able to be ourselves and actually go to shows with other gay people, and it had a gay theme, and you felt that you were in a society. You weren't an outcast. So it was very validating, to the point where I thought, I wonder if I could live here my whole life. I don't think, you know.
I have to say, while I was in the repressive age, I did go to Provincetown a few times, and there people were more loose, like they are now in public here. But even then, in an accepting atmosphere, where the population was probably 95% gay, I still was not comfortable with public affection, like holding hands, walking down the street. And I'm still not to this day. I wouldn't do that now. But I notice sometimes it catches me unaware, but I'm happy to see it when I see young girls holding hands and happy together, you know, without, so carefree. And the same for young men. That's really refreshing, and I'm very glad to see that change in society.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
I'm so excited to wear this to Queer Prom.
People don't know who they are until like a long time. I'm someone who knew who I was quickly. I told Mom that I'm not a girl, I'm a boy. She said, okay, you feel like a boy. And I said, I don't feel like a boy, I am a boy.
Where do you see our relationship in a year?
I'm marrying her. I'm marrying her.
In a year?
In a year, yes.
I'm not mad at that.
And I hope the young people will learn the history of gay life and the repression and the discrimination, and appreciate what they have today and take it beyond. You know, we still have a lot of work to do in that regard. There's still a lot of prejudice and hate mongers out there, but it's a lot better than it used to be, and I'm very happy about it.
We were all considered a block. Well, now with all of the different aspects, all the different facets of sexuality that come under that umbrella, and I'm not sure what all of them are, and they change rapidly. I'm glad to see them included, that who you are is able to be seen or recognized. And you know, as fluid as that is, I think there's a necessity for all of that to bubble up and then settle back down.
I'm always just stunned. I'm stunned that I read that in magazines. I'm stunned that I watch it on television. I think how much better things will be for them, that they'll be able to grow normally. They'll be able to date in high school as gay people. They'll be able to go through the steps that you're supposed to go through without having a hidden agenda.
I am so happy that we have, as a country, declared our wish to respect everybody and who they are. If you guys go back and look at some of the 50s and 60s news film about being in the gay bars and how brutally they were treated by the law, that it's almost impossible to believe. And I think that living in a society today where I see so many things acceptable that weren't, and so many people who can be who they are, it is just heartwarming. And I hope we've got a lot to do, but we've got a lot done.
I belong to a book club now that has some younger members in it. And as we read about situations or periods in gay history, it's always really interesting for me to hear how the younger members perceive themselves, because boy, things have really changed. The danger element is still there in some of the situations, but life is just very different. More people are tolerant. You know, we can marry now. And I mean, it was really, I never believed I'd see that in my lifetime.
To my younger self, I would have said, you need to maybe examine things a little more closely and be more open to realizing that what the norm is for a woman is not the norm for you, and that that's okay.
Well, I think what you have to do is spend time knowing who you are. And that is not an easy thing, and it doesn't come, we don't encourage that. And it takes a long time because you don't know really who you are until you've reacted to so many different situations. And you have developed what you like and what you don't like, but they're not judgments. They're based in the way you believe. So I think learning who you are and who you are not would be the most important thing.
I think the hardest thing I've had to learn is to go with the truth no matter what the truth is. And I learn that every day because there's always so much fallout. And I think growing up as a woman, where at least I was trained to be cognizant of other people's feelings and to try to make things okay, the truth doesn't always do that. And so I'm taking a step out of my comfort zone when I do that. And I have to keep saying, that's important. The truth is truly important. In the long run, you will feel much better with that.
I did not want to be gay because I could see what kind of a trial it was going to be. For my family, for my profession, we would have been fired in a heartbeat. I mean, that was law. So you just have to keep on trying to find out who you are.
The most important thing is don't worry about anything. Be true to yourself. That's really important, to be true to yourself.
No.
No words. Now, would you all mind telling me how much of an appearance fee goes along with this?
Oh, you're welcome. I hope it was spontaneous enough for you, Matt.
It was.